Welcome everyone, back to Final Fantasy XIV once again. We are finally at the end of Shadowbringers. We've beaten the 5.0 content. And now we're in the post-patch stuff, and it's going to be a little bit different compared to the other expansions we've done, as we don't have easy access to a lot of stronger equipment right off the bat. In fact, I went and bought myself some, mostly some more accessories, where most of them were $450. I bought them off the marketplace. Everything else we have equipment-wise is $430. Besides the waist, most of the accessories, and I actually had to get a $480 one here, which is pretty high, as I couldn't get the ring for the other set. They're all called faucet otherwise. Yeah, I did that just to give myself a boost at the beginning here, as the first dungeon for the post-content stuff is really quickly ahead. And that one required an item level 430, so I wasn't even at 430 at the point I was. I was at like 423, so that's going to give us a little bit of a boost, and we'll see what we're going to have to do after that. But at the moment, I'm hoping to get through a little bit of the content tonight, at least up to the dungeon, and then we'll see how things go from there. But okay, so let's go ahead and head to where we need to go. I think we have to head to the Rising Stones, I believe. And let's go ahead and see what they have for us. Let me... Thank you, there we go. The game is really busy at the moment. I think that its player base is like as high as it's ever been, for a couple of reasons, I think. So there's a lot of people in like all the hub areas. Ordona and Limsa was absolutely full when I checked it out earlier today, when I went to the market board. Narn, gods, it's good to see you. I hope your being here means you've had your fill of rest. Not so much as for your winks, truth be told. You're too selfless, that's your problem, but you'll be no good to anyone if you don't take a break every once in a while. Anyway, not much has happened since your last visit. I had planned for you to meet that helper I told you about, but he refuses to answer his link pearl. I do hope he's alright. We've been exchanging messages with the Urzian Alliance throughout, though. They say the fighting has finally stopped at Grimland Dark, and that the Empire has shown no sign of movement. Which means we might actually have a moment to ourselves for a change. Seeing as you're back, maybe we could tell me more about your time in the First. Great. Oh, if you don't mind, I'd like to ask Philomena to join us. She'll want to know what happened in Memphilia. I think it's best she hears it from you. We'll meet you at the terrace of the House of Splendors. Almost forgot about her, to be honest. Yeah, but presumably Memphilia is completely gone at this point. Which is interesting because, you know, she only really had a big part as far as the base game goes, because she only showed up at the very end of the Heavensward stuff, and she was completely absent during the Stormblood, so... I do really like this outfit I have at the moment, though. It looks very Paladin-like. I'm curious as if it changes design depending on which tank class you're playing as, though. Because this looks really stylized as Paladin. Maybe something even a warrior might wear, but otherwise it's kind of like... It'd be kind of weird to see it as a Dark Knight or Gunblade outfit. House of Splendors. I'm not sure exactly... Apparently higher up somewhere. It's been so long since I've like moved around in here. Okay, here's an upstairs. Let's go ahead and take this. See if this will lead us somewhere. Okay, yeah, I think we're heading in the right direction now. It's been forever since I've actually had to move around in Mordona more than just going to the Rising Stones, so... Nar and Maya, it's been too long. Tatara did mention that I'd be joining you, did she not? Thank you. Words cannot express how I've longed to know more of the First. This woman Philia sacrificed so much to save. But come, rest your feet. Tatari should be arriving shortly. And so Menphilia chose to pass on her gifts to the next oracle, this girl who Thancred named Reen. To have such a burden thrust upon her as a child, only to embrace it when given the choice. In that respect, they're quite alike. It would seem her legacy is indeed in capable hands. Nar, may I ask a favor of you when you next return to the First, to tell Reen what I cannot. To tell her thank you. And I'd offer thanks to you as well for staying with her to the end. Begging your pardon, but could I have a word? Royal, I hope you're not here to tell me you've received her word from our helper. Or I hope you're here to tell me you received word from our helper. I wish, nay, I've not heard a peep out of him. And it's been a good long while now, too bloody long. On account of which, I'm going to sneak over the border and see if I can't get a signal to him from closer up. But what if they catch you? There must be another way. Well, it ain't as if we can ask Thancred to do it. Besides, I shouldn't have no trouble picking my way through Glimmen now that the fighting's died down. Gods know there's enough shadows to hide in. And it beats waiting around here twiddling me thumbs. Any road, I just thought I'd let you know. Now, best I be. Ack, I nearly forgot. Crawls to the stones, and she wanted a word. Something to do with the patients. She's getting ready to examine them again when I left. We best head back then. I'm sure it's important. The patients, I'm pretty sure they meant like our friends' bodies that are here in the source. It's probably going to be something like they're withering away without a soul inside them or whatever. Which will probably give us the reason why we're going to have to like move very quickly to get them back here. Because if it's anything like other post-expansion patches, then we're probably going to have this all wrapped up by 5.3. So if that's the case, things are probably going to move fairly quickly now. Sheeps is still examining them. I do hope it's nothing bad.
You're here. Good.
So, how are they?
Still locked in slumber, but otherwise in good physical health. For the present, at least.
For the present? Oh no, is something wrong with them?
I'm afraid there may be. I summoned you after detecting faint signs of instability in Thancred's corporeal ether. But subsequent examination suggested all 5 might be affected. And when I examined them just now, my fears were confirmed. Tellingly, the degree of instability varies between them. Thancred exhibits the most notable signs, followed by Y'shtola and Urianger. The twins' ether, meanwhile, remains relatively stable, but there is a change there too if one knows to look for it.
Hold on. Isn't that the order they were called away in?
Indeed. Which leads me to believe the instability will only increase with time. Although I can but speculate, I fear this may be a symptom of a weakening link between body and soul.
By the gods! What happens if the link is broken?
I cannot say for certain. This is all unknown territory to us. Yet whatever happens, it cannot be good. Mercifully, the instability is still only slight. And you may rest assured Master Matoya and I will do everything in our power to keep it from worsening. Be that as it may, it is imperative that you find a way to restore our friends' souls to their bodies.
Leave it to me.
Thank you.
But where's she even supposed to start? We had the greatest minds in the realm hunting high and low for an answer, and they ran out of places to look.
You stated in your report that the Exarch had originally intended to reverse the summoning process by means of his own death, correct? Raha always was a reckless young fool, ready to die for the first righteous cause that came along. His plan might well have worked, but I for one am glad he never had the opportunity to see it through. Even if it does mean our friends must remain stranded a while longer. There is another way, I am sure of it. And the key lies with him, with the Exarch. Pray return to the First and apprise him and the others of the situation. We, meanwhile, will do what we can from here. And, if the fates are kind, we will have good news to share upon your return.
Alright, so I was pretty much correct on my thoughts right before the cutscene. Now it's time to go ahead and talk to our friend Azark, or as we know him, as the Catboy. Alright, let's go ahead and talk to our friend up here. Oh, we got a little quest here. That's right, we should probably have a few things here, I imagine. One in the back there, too. Yeah, we should have a couple of dungeon ones, I assume we could access at this point. Now that we finished the main expansion. So that could be a way for us to maybe perhaps get a few more equipment items. Hopefully armor anyways. Okay, let's go ahead and talk with him. Narn, you've returned. I hope your time at the source was suitably restful. But of course it wasn't. Go on. Their corporal ether shows sign of instability. By the gods, the possibility never even occurred to me. If you return in the hope that my research is yielded a solution, I fear you'll be sorely disappointed. Twice but a mercy, we have the likes of Mistress Kryl and Master Matoya to keep our friends' bodies safe while we wrestle with the problem. But they cannot forestall the separation of body and soul indefinitely. Come, the others must be told. Yeah, it's probably not going to go good for that discussion.
Pray excuse my late arrival.
Will Thancred and Reen not be joining us?
Nay, milady. With apologies to all, they beg leave to pursue their investigation of the empty to its conclusion. Should matters here demand their presence, however, they did assure me that they would make themselves available.
Yes, of course. Then let us proceed. I think it best that you begin by providing a summary of Mistress Kryle's findings.
I suppose it was only to be expected that some change would occur.
Yet our souls seem unaffected, to my eye at least. How long they will remain so is another question. Kryle is right. It is imperative we find a way to return to the source.
Perhaps an explanation of the method by which I brought you here will yield some inspiration. Ere I begin, it must be noted that I am by no means a gifted mage. In order to employ powerful magics, I must rely upon the Crystal Tower and its boundless reservoirs of energy. The magic that summoned you was no exception. 'Tis a singular spell, adapted through painstaking effort from the technique that transported me to the First. To use an analogy, it works by cutting a hole in the fabric of reality. A hole tailored to the object of summoning, through which it and it alone may pass unscathed. Though I succeeded in creating said hole, I failed to latch onto my intended target. Instead of you, the spell found those close to you, and ended up summoning them in their incomplete state. I would not soon throw my life away, not after the lengths you and yours went to save it. And so long as I breathe, I will spare no effort to see you safely home. But should all else fail, and your lives be at stake, there remains one sure method.
Ow! What was that for?
How can you even entertain such thoughts? You owe your life to the Warrior of Light, and you don't get to die unless she says so.
Your followers await your divine judgment.
What did you just...
What?
If the two of you have finished, perhaps we could return to our discussion? Rather than dwelling upon the multiple failed attempts at transference, I think it would behoove us to focus on the solitary success. I would draw your attention to the fact that our friend can travel between worlds possessed not only of her body and soul, but her personal effects besides. This is no different from the teleportation magics to which we are all accustomed. Magics that allow for the transportation of those inanimate objects one considers to be an extension of oneself.
Are you suggesting that simply by considering us her possessions, she could carry our souls back to the source upon her person?
Well, it would be nice if things were that simple for a change. But vague notions of ownership seem a rather tenuous thing to stake our lives on. So much as a moment of doubt on her part, and we'd be left floating in the rift.
Milady hath the right of it. The requisite fixity of belief would be too much to ask even of our friend. Yet were we to immure our souls within an object in her possession, mayhap then our safe passage could be assured. White Auracite would, I believe, serve as a suitable vessel for this purpose. It was conceived to imprison the massy soul of an Ascian, and should house one of ours with relative ease. We would need only to ensure our soul's safe preservation inside the stone, and identify a means by which they might be transferred back onto our vacant bodies.
Soul preservation and transference. I believe I know of someone who may be able to assist us. On the far shore of the source, there stands a great palace built by the elves. It was forsaken in the wake of the flood, but a certain Numo chose to make their home there soon after. Though they have long lived as a recluse, they once occupied a place of honor in Verbert's royal court, and it is said that none in all of Norvrand is more knowledgeable than they on matters of the soul.
Well, I've no objection to seeking a helping hand, but if they've gone to such lengths to hide themselves away from the world, what makes you think they'd be willing to lend us one?
A worthy question. Years ago, I myself tried and failed to solicit their cooperation in the battle against the Sin Eaters. No sooner had I begun to make my plea than they unleashed a swarm of their familiars upon me. Unlike me, however, you have curried favor with the Faefolk. By that merit alone, I am hopeful that they would grant you an audience. They may still be inclined to turn you away, of course, but if their knowledge might feasibly facilitate your return home, we have to try.
Alright. Let's see here. Which one do we want here? I guess that one. Alrighty then. And I think this palace is probably the dungeon, if I have to imagine. The Grand Cosmos, that is, the place we seek, stands at the opposite shore of the source. I will arrange a boat to carry us there. Whilst those journeys to there, I think it'd be best I devote my energies to the creation of white orsite. By that leave, of course, the process requires no small amount of time. Should the Numo consent to lend us their aid, we would have need of a suitable vessel ere long. Agree, then I would ask the rest of you to meet me in Solon, and do be prepared for a warm reception. Alrighty. Yarnjay, do you have anything else to say? Pray join the others in Solon. I shall return my thoughts to the Urusite and appraise Thancred and Reen of our progress. Yeah, I guess they're out in the Big Empty at the moment. Big Empty. I didn't even mean to make that reference, but okay. Okay, let's see where we need to go here. Is it somewhere in Lakeland, I'm assuming? Yes, it is, actually. Okay. Honestly, leaving from here is probably the closest, spot, so... But yeah, it looks like night has returned once again to all the areas. Magic bucket. Nice. I wonder if that's a minion from that one dungeon that was at Master Matoya's place. And then we have another blue quest right there, too. Ah, it's fog at the moment. Nice. I have to admit, though, that I kind of missed the Everlasting Light effect. There was, like, a different, like, type of light around that you don't really get with the normal, light. I did just realize, though, that we never got a mount for this expansion, which is curious, because I think every other mount they gave us one. Maybe they'll give us one in these post-patch stuff? I don't know. Because they gave us the Yule in Stormblood, and then Heavensward they gave us, I think, the Black Chocobo. Okay, we're just about there. As I told you before, I had scarcely set foot in the palace grounds when I was set upon by our hostess familiars. I expect our reception today to be no different, which is why I propose we march to the main gate, weapons drawn. I'm sorry, but are we not here to petition for assistance? You can't honestly think barging in looking for a fight is going to persuade them. Actually, I believe the Azarch may have the right of it. They have no doubt poured a great deal of time and energy into their creations. Were I them, I would be most interested in meet with those who could overcome my defenses. As would any true seeker of knowledge, and there is little we can say or do to convince them to help us if we know nothing of their character, no less why they chose to hide themselves from the world. But if we seize their interest, mayhap we can earn ourselves an audience. Weapons drawn it is, then. I must say, Azarch, you certainly seem to be enjoying all this. Do I? Well, I will not deny that I enjoy the thought of fighting alongside you all, rather than pacing about inside the Crystal Tower. You both seem to be rather in high spirits, if you ask me. Not that I'm surprised, your moods invariably improve when Narn is around. What exactly are you implying? She averted a calamity, and the light which seemed destined to consume her has been extinguished. It's only natural that we'd be pleased to see her. Yes, well, you have plenty of time to celebrate her good health after we've finished here. Of course, then let us proceed to the palace. And there's the dungeon right there. It looks like the trust system is still going on too, which is nice. If I ever have to grind on dungeons for items, then I could just do the trust, probably, honestly, after the first time. Okay, so in the next video, we'll be doing the Grand Cosmos dungeon and seeing where we go from there. Guess we'll be meeting another Numu. So, see you then.